This is Texpat Robert Rice. Thank you, and welcome to my channel. Well, hello everyone, and good evening. I wanted to talk a little bit about the American elections and why it is that we still do not have a winner as of Monday, this last Monday. The American elections are not based on popular vote. The American elections are based on what's called electoral college. And there's a reason for this. When the Constitution was drawn up, those that wrote the Constitution invented what's called the electoral college. Now, the electoral college, you get so many per state based upon population. So, the reason they did this was the people would cast their votes, and out of that state would come however many electoral votes there are. That many people would go and meet, and then they will cast their vote. The reason this was done was so that at the time when the founding fathers of the United States established the Constitution, that no one state or states can rule the presidency. Because at the time, New York, Massachusetts, and a few other cities had the population. And they were the population centers. So that means that any of the people that lived in the country or lived in the outlying areas that came in to vote in their counties, then their voices really would not be heard. In the least populous states, especially at the time, was like West Virginia, Kentucky, and things like that. Their voices would not be heard. So in order to even things out, where the most populous areas would not be in control of the presidency, that's how it happened. And that's how the Electoral College works. For the state of Texas, I think you get, well, the last time I really checked was, at the time, was 38. So that means if someone running for president wins the state of Texas, they get that many electoral votes. That means that 38 people, when the Electoral College gathers together, 38 people will go and then they will vote for the president. And especially in today's world, in this modern United States, your population centers of the country are along the west coast of the United States and the east coast, the northeast coast of the United States. That's where the majority of the people live in the United States. There are big cities like San Antonio, Texas, with, running up, I think, 4 million now people living there. Houston, Dallas, running around 10 million. But these population areas on the West Coast, which would be Washington, Oregon, California, and Maine on the other side, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Maryland. I may have forgotten one. Those are your main population centers. That's where most of your people live. So in today's world, if these population centers are controlled by, let's say, the Democratic Party, then if you went by popular vote, then the Democratic Party would always be in presidency. No matter how much you won of the rest of them, if you were the opponent. So in order to prevent something like that from happening, that's how the Electoral College was developed. Now here's what happens. No winner has yet been declared. They are still doing recounts. I don't care what your news media has told you. No one has been declared a winner. And I think Joe Biden was a little bit presumptive in giving a victory speech because he has not yet been declared the winner. Because here's what happens. The Electoral College meets in December to cast their votes. Now, 9 times out of 10, they will cast their vote based upon who won the state in the election. So, for example, if Trump won the state of Texas, which he did, then those 38 people, when they go to cast their votes, generally will vote for the winner of the state. But that doesn't always happen. The Electoral College, these people can actually vote for whoever they wish to vote for. And so there's no guarantee that if you win the you win the states, and you get, I think the magic number is 270. If you win the state and you get that many electoral votes, doesn't mean it's going to automatically go to you. There's always a lot of pressure placed upon these electoral college voters that they should vote a certain way. It happened in the last election before this last one here, when Trump first became president. There was a lot of pressure given to the Electoral College to not vote for Trump, but to vote for Hillary Clinton. I know this because a friend of mine was picked to be part of that Electoral College, the Electoral College vote. So there's not always a guarantee just because you get those 270 people or more, if you get more than 270, to actually vote for the one who won the state. Now, 9 times out of 10 they do, but they don't have to. That's the point I'm trying to make. The actual declaration of the winner of the presidential race will take place in December. It's not now. Unless one side has conceded the felt that it's not going to matter, I lost the race during the election, I'll go ahead and concede the victory to my opponent. Now, once that happens, game over. But in the election before this last one, Hillary Clinton never conceded. She never conceded and still has not conceded, even though President Trump won not only the electoral votes, but the Electoral College voted for him. So that, it is what it is. I mean, Hillary Clinton won the East Coast and the West Coast, just like all Democrats do, because everybody's heavily Democrat over there. They're all Looney Tunes. And but she didn't win the rest of the states, I think, except New Mexico and maybe Minnesota. But all the rest of them, Donald Trump won. And he won not only by the states that he won in, but he also won by the Electoral College. Now, that's the way it works in the United States. In smaller countries, Electoral College doesn't work, but the United States is a big country, and you don't want to hand absolute power to a group or a region such as East Coast and West Coast to rule continually forever. That's why it is the way it is. And so I just wanted to touch up how the American elections work. It does not, the Electoral College does not meet by for assemblymen or assemblymen or senators or congressmen. They don't meet for that. That is done by the popular vote of the state. And if you're a Congress, you're running for Congress, the House, then you have to go every 2 years, and it's going to be the most popular vote of the precincts that you represent. Not the whole state, but just the precincts. The Senate is who was really the most popular in the states, the states themselves. So the state of Texas has 2 senators. All the states have 2 senators. The state of Texas, they voted, and those ones that won the popular vote in the state for Senate is they are elected straight up. But the president, because of its position, is not based on popular vote. It's based on the Electoral College. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's the way our Constitution is set up to prevent a one-party rule. And that's how it works. It's to prevent a one-party rule where one party can rule and make policy for everybody, whether they agree with it or not. And that's how it works. So I just wanted to inform you, this is how these things are done in the United States. When I was in college, I took the Constitution. I got an A in it. So I understand the Constitution, what it says and what it doesn't say. And in the Constitution, it lays out, the Electoral College. Also, it is the individual states' legislature, like say the Texas legislature for the state of Texas, your assemblyman and Senate. They set the ground rules for how the voting is to be done. No one can change that. And that is one of the problems that they are having, especially in places like Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, where a judge allowed something to happen and he's not authorized to do that. He is not authorized to dictate about the legislative process. And so that's one of the big contentions, along with observers not being allowed in to observe to make sure that the ballots were actually real ballots. This year, the ballots had a watermark on them. If you were voting absentee or you were doing a mail-in ballot, the real ballot would have had a watermark on it and a very small radioactive isotope. This is how they would know if it was real. So if those ballots that are being contested do not have that watermark or the radioisotope or neither one of them, then that ballot cannot be counted. There's other things that are going on. This is why there are lawsuits right now. President Trump is not being disrespectful or a sore loser, because there has been enough evidence out there coming out by whistleblowers who were there when all this stuff was going on. So President Trump may still lose the election, and in which case we will have a new president. But he is within his right to make sure that that election is fair and balanced, and he cannot stop the election from happening. He cannot, declare himself victor, and he has not, because he wants to let the process run its course. Now, he can, even if he loses the general election, he can still win by the Electoral College. Like I said, those that vote in the Electoral College do not have to vote for the state. They do not have to vote the way it was in their state. If Biden won in, let's say, Wisconsin, the electoral voters for Wisconsin do not have to vote for Biden. That's the way it is. You do not have to. Or Trump. Either way. They vote for who they vote for. But 9 times out of 10, they vote for the one who took the state. So, this is Tech Pat Robert Rice. And thank you. I hope this discussion of the American system of elections works. And I hope you understand it a little bit better. And God bless you, and have a wonderful, wonderful night.